it's not even her ID. Yabona upaste isithombe iqhaqhiwe la. Ize iqhaqhiwe vele iqhaqhiwe. Makacelwa ukuthi ucela confirm i-ID number. Ngoba yeyakhe angithi she couldn't wabiza inumber wrong.
We allocate based on the size of population so that we are trying to meet the ratio. So unfortunately, you will plan for example, let's say around Musina, the population according to State SA is about 2 million. So obviously, we will plan our resources according to the official size of the population, but we end up seeing influx. We end up saving more healthcare users than the documented one, but because of the laws of the country, we cannot discriminate against anyone. We want to appeal to members of the public, individuals, organized groups to say, please, let's try to identify the root cause of this instead of dealing with
But we already know the root cause. We do know the root cause. We already know the root cause. So what are we trying to identify?
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we'll be looking at two moments that perfectly sum up the crisis in our healthcare system. First, footage of a foreign national caught using what appears to be a fake or stolen ID at a clinic. And second, a tense SABC interview where Clement Manyathela confronts Department of Health spokesperson Foster Mohale about this very issue. These are not isolated incidents. They are symptoms of a collapsing system, and the government's response or lack thereof is making things worse.
Right. The situation is first nayo this morning, Bahlali. Ama leaders like 18 are requested umuntu ukuthi bacela ubone ID, and she produced your green barcoded ID book. Makacelwa ukuthi ucela confirm i-ID number ngoba yeyakhe angithi she couldn't wabiza inumber wrong. Makuyenzwa i-investigation kwatholakala ukuthi it's not even her ID. Yabona upaste isithombe iqhaqhiwe la. Ize iqhaqhiwe vele iqhaqhiwe. Wafaka isithombe sakhe. I-ID lena ekamalevu Pretty Lindiwe. If anyone was uMalevu Pretty Lindiwe, please notify her ukuthi her ID is being used by a foreign national. Even worse, uthe makabuzwa wazenza umuntu ofonelayo ufonela ubaba wabaleka wagijimiswa wabaleka uphelele ngale. Wakhuluma ukuthi yebo uyithengile wabaleka uphelele ngasemashop makagijimiswa abahlali. So sicela nisitholele umnikazi we-ID. And then yena umkhonyovu lo, she has been taking a medication since 2022 using this ID from 2022. So can you imagine bahlali ukuthi zingakhe ezinye izinto azenzile nge-ID yomunye umntwana ethengiwe? It's not fair bahlali. So ukuthi siqedeni lezinto lezi bahlali asenzeni ama-smart card.
And for the record, lo muntu lo kusho ukuthi kuthiwa uthatha i-treatment. Uthatha i-treatment, uthola ukuthi lo muntu lo akaguli or uphethwe ukugula mara she can't access medication due to identity fraud.
Exactly. The owner of the ID yena nyabona ukuthi kuzoba nzima ukuthi if asithola agula she can't get medication or angeke akwazi ukwenza ezinye izinto because her ID is being used for a fraud, because this is fraud. This is fraud bahlali. So ukuthi siqede yonke lento lena bahlali asenze nama smart card. Only 170 Home Affairs. Commanders, morning.
We'll now move on to the conversation between Clement Manyathela and DOH spokesperson Foster Mohale. Clement presses Foster on the state's handling of illegal immigration and the real strain it's placing on South Africa's healthcare system. It's a revealing conversation, and one that shows just how out of touch the government really is.
Previously, you have tried to warn Operation Dudula from continuing with this campaign. From what you observed so far, what's been happening? Are they listening? And what's your next plan as the Department of Health?
Yeah, no, definitely. As the Department of Health, we've discouraged individuals and organized groups like Operation Dudula who go around at our health facilities demanding to see any form of identity from the healthcare user. We discourage that, even though we understand the concerns. So they are raising valid concerns, but through illegal means, which is a challenge. So we understand the burden of created by undocumented foreign nationals on our healthcare system. But we want to encourage anyone with concerns to raise their concerns through a legal means, but also proposing solutions to address this issue on a long term, because we strongly believe that this is a societal issue. It's not only about health. You can imagine the undocumented national or citizens in the country who commit crime. It's going to be difficult for our law enforcement agencies to trace them because they are undocumented. But with regards to access to healthcare, you correctly quoted the constitution of the country, especially Section 27, also supported by the National Health Act and other pieces of legislation, which says we cannot deny anyone access to health purely because of their immigration status or their nationality for a number of reasons. For example, just yesterday, we have issued a media statement to update the public with regards to mpox, the outbreak of mpox in the country. And majority of these cases are imported cases, meaning that they were imported from countries' origins where currently they are dealing with the outbreak of this disease. The same applies to COVID-19, the same applies to measles and so forth. And you will never know who is the carrier of which virus. So if we start discriminating against the healthcare users based on their nationality, all our efforts to prevent the spread of these infectious and deadly diseases will be we will not succeed. So hence we say, let's try to address the root cause, which is not health. So let's try to identify the root cause and also deal with that root cause. We'll be able to prevent a lot of the challenges.
Yeah. So when you say that you do understand as the health department the concerns that they're raising, albeit doing so illegally, the issue of foreign nationals and the impact that immigrants have on our healthcare system, do you have that kind of data? Are you able to state that you're aware that there are pockets where particularly illegal immigrants are overburdening the healthcare system?
No, definitely we are well aware. Remember when the Minister of Finance, they allocate the budget. They allocate budget based on the population size of the country. And as the Minister of Health also further allocate the budget to provinces based on the population of the provinces. The same way the MECs, the premiers, the MECs, they also do the same. So I'm just giving an example. Let's say health facilities which are located around Musina, obviously they know the population size which is documented in Home Affairs and also Stats SA, how many people are living in that particular area. So when we allocate the resources, the number of the nurses, the number of other healthcare workers, but also the infrastructure and also the treatment, we allocate based on the size of population so that we are trying to meet the ratio. So unfortunately, you will plan for example, let's say around Musina, the population according to State SA is about 2 million. So obviously, we will plan our resources according to the official size of the population, but we end up seeing influx. We end up saving more healthcare users than the documented one, but because of the laws of the country, we cannot discriminate against anyone.
So what do you say then to someone who, because part of what this group is raising is that you've got some South African citizens who try to go to a clinic, who try to go to a hospital, and sometimes there's just no beds because of that overburdening that you are speaking about. And yes, there's no justification of the actions by this group, but I mean, you surely understand the frustration on the citizens of this country if they go to a hospital or they go to a clinic and they are not able to get assistance there because the system is overburdened by illegal foreigners.
Absolutely correct. That is a fact. But I know at some point previously the government tried to engage the embassies of a number of countries whose citizens are currently in the country to say, please, can you meet us halfway, try to settle some of the bills for some of your citizens? But unfortunately, they asked us the difficult question which could not answer, to say they are not aware of the presence of their citizens because they did not leave their countries legally, meaning that it's going to be difficult for them to account for anyone who claims to come from their country if they are here illegal. So that is a conundrum, but we want to appeal to members of the public, individuals, organized groups, to say, please, let's try to identify the root cause of this instead of dealing with
But we already
this
know
issue
the root cause.
piecemeal.
We do know the root cause. We already know
What
the
is
root
that?
cause. So what are we trying to identify? You've just indicated that there are people who are coming into the country illegally. Even their own governments are not able to identify them. When they are here illegally, they end up using our services because our laws and our constitution allow for that. Isn't that where the issue is? So when you say let's identify it, what do you mean?
No, look, I don't think that could be one. Look, firstly, the fact that they entered the country illegally, they committed a crime in the country. Do you agree with me?
Yes,
so
I
meaning
do.
that yes, meaning that the law enforcement agencies must enforce the law and act without a bias. So they need to enforce the law and arrest anyone. So they committed the crime. So they must be arrested and deported. So hence we say, Clement, if you know that your neighbor Foster is here, or you suspect that Foster, your neighbor, is here in the country illegally, what stops you from calling the law enforcement agency? What stops you from calling the immigration officers to come and interrogate Foster? And if I cannot provide any proof that I'm here in the country legally, then I must be deported.
Yeah, and first, I mean, you know how the system in this country is. I bet you there are many people who have probably tried that approach before. And part of the problem, which Home Affairs has admitted to, is the corruption in the system. So yes, you call that immigration officer, but they get given money and they walk away and nothing really happens. And look, I'm not trying to hold you accountable here for issue of our porous borders.
Yes.
That's not your department. You are the health department. But I'm trying to indicate that as government, you have completely failed to manage the borders, because now we're sitting with a situation where citizens are frustrated because they are unable, some of them, to get healthcare services because our healthcare system is overburdened by illegal immigrants. And all we're hearing is, oh, we need to go fix our borders, which is a promise that's been made for so long. So that's going to make it difficult for you then to have conversations with citizens who are frustrated, because they'll say to you, you've been promising to fix this and you're still not fixing it.
No, definitely. And just to give an example, to say this is a societal issue. Look, someone can also argue that their children are not able to get the space in the local schools because now they have to compete with the children of undocumented foreign parents. So that is, hence I say this is a societal issue that must be dealt with holistically, not in a piecemeal. Exactly, you have pointed one of the contributing factors, the issue of corruption. So if we can try to address the issue of corruption and other contributing factors, definitely this issue will be able to address this issue once and for all.
So Foster admits that illegal foreigners are overburdening the healthcare system. He even says the government allocates resources based on population statistics. Statistics that even he admits don't include these illegal foreigners. So if they know the system is being overwhelmed, why are they doing nothing? He says they discourage Operation Dudula's actions, yet he provides no realistic alternative. They keep pushing citizens to go through legal channels to call immigration. But what happens? Nothing. Immigration officers don't show up. No arrests, no deportations. Clement continues to push him on this, and Foster has no answers. He continues to say it's a societal issue. We should fix corruption. These are all vague and recycled talking points. These are the same lines we've heard for decades with zero change. Meanwhile, our people continue to die in clinic queues, being turned away from beds and losing access to services built for them. Foster then goes on about how our government once asked foreign embassies to pay for their citizens' healthcare in South Africa. Really? What kind of naive, toothless approach is that? These foreign governments won't pay a cent. In fact, they're very happy to offload their burden onto us. What our government is doing is not diplomacy, it's self-inflicted sabotage. So again I ask, why is our government so hell-bent on keeping these borders wide open? Why refuse to enforce immigration laws, yet so quick to criminalize South Africans trying to protect their communities? Is it really just about cheap labor, or is there something deeper? Foster talks about the Constitution, how it forces us to take care of everyone equally. But we know the Constitution can be amended, so why don't they do it? Why do they refuse to put the citizens first? These are the real questions and we demand answers. Watch the video on your left to see members of parliament debating amending the Constitution. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Until next time.